Rashee Rice is back. Will he be better than ever? His total is 61.5 receiving yards. What do you think?
Going more. Patrick Mahomes is going to want to get him involved because it's the first time we're going to see him all season. Similar situation with Xavier Worthy in Week 4 when he came back from injury. What did Mahomes do? Force-fed him the ball. 8 targets, 5 receptions, 83 yards. I'm not sure the Raiders' secondary is equipped to handle all the weapons Kansas City's going to throw at him this weekend.
All right, so Rice going over. Cam Scatterbo is the most popular man in New York. His total is 55.5 rushing yards this weekend, more or less.
We're going less. Career high 98 rushing yards against Philadelphia last week. One of my favorite things to do in sports betting, bet against a career high, bet on a career low. Why? Markets overreact, prices get inflated, thus creating value in the under. Keep in mind, Denver, number 9 in the NFL in defensive rush success rate. We have a high price on Scatterbo and a tougher matchup. We go lower here.
All right, and then how about Jalen Hurts, that struggling Eagles offense, 209.5 passing yards, more or less.
This is less. I thought it'd be closer to maybe 190, 192, close to 210. We're definitely going to play the under here. Hurts struggles, and he has throughout his entire career against the blitz. This season, 24th in QBR against the blitz. Well, guess what? Minnesota loves to bring pressure. Number 3 in the NFL in blitz rate. This is on the road. You have the Minnesota crowd noise. It's a bad situation for Hurts. We go less here.
I'm with you. I think the number feels high. So, to recap, we've got that as a parlay. You got Rashee Rice with the over, Cam Scatterbo, and Jalen Hurts on the under. If you like the plays, they're a parlay at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Look for the more or less featured parlay on the homepage of the app and in the Parlay Lounge. And let's use that to segue into the game. And one of the most ridiculous things you can say, but that is that sometimes we allow the results of the games to influence the way we think about teams too much. And players get so mad at me. Teddy Bruschi got so mad at me every time I brought this up last year with Kansas City. But sometimes you look at teams' point differential, you look at teams' yardage differential, and they tell the story. If you didn't know what the Eagles' record was and you just watched them play, you would not be so convinced that they were a Super Bowl caliber team. So that's my question to you, Bart. Are they? Are they a Super Bowl caliber team again this year?
I think they're a team that's down in the middle with everybody else, but one thing I do believe that they have the capability. We talk about low floors and high ceilings. This is a team that has a high ceiling because of the personnel, and we know that they have one of the best executives in all of football that can recognize what this team needs and can go out and address it. We talk about the big differences. They lost a lot of leadership in Brandon Graham. They let Sweat graduate out of the program, and it left them without pass rushers. So now I think they go out and they address that situation. I think they'll find themselves exactly where they are with an opportunity to beat any team that they line up against in the NFC.
What are the vibes there, Peter? Because like you just watch them, you watch some of the stuff that happens during the week, you know, A.J. Brown and some of the comments that we've seen coming out of there. From a distance, it feels like the vibes are off. What are they, how are they feeling there?
Part of it is, hey, look, we've beaten the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and the Rams already. Back off, right? We've done, like, why don't you guys, everyone just step off? We beat the Cowboys in week 1. And then part of it is what we see externally. Kevin Patullo in a press conference talking around things. Lane Johnson after the game saying the offense isn't creative enough. And then, of course, you've got the, was there a meeting, was there not a meeting? What constitutes a meeting between Jalen, Saquon, and A.J.? So all that stuff's real. 4-2 is different in Philadelphia this year than 4-2 is in maybe a Jacksonville or a Tampa Bay. It feels different because that's what the standard is. And even when they won their Super Bowl, it didn't feel like this feeling of great joy. It felt like this feeling of, all right, keep them at bay. We can now do it. There's a different pressure cooker in that city. Those guys have been able to handle it. We'll see how it goes as the season goes on.
That's reasonable. And look, we've paid so much attention to what Saquon hasn't been doing, what the passing game hasn't been doing, but it's not even the offense that has you most concerned.
Yeah, it's that defense, and Bart just alluded to it. A lot of guys have moved on to go to other teams, but when you look at them in total defense this season, they're 21st, they're 27th versus run defense, and in third down defense, they've been atrocious there as well. They're 26th. And the lack of pass rush and sacking the quarterback through 6 games in 2025, they have 9 sacks. Through 6 games in 2024, they had 18 sacks, Greeny. So the inability to sack the quarterback and arrive at the quarterback violently impacts, I believe, that secondary. And you lost 2 guys in the secondary from last season as well. So, you know, that defense hasn't been as great as everyone expected them to be this season. So you have to figure out how can you shore that up. Now, you're getting Jalen Carter back. He's missed 2 games.
That's what I'm saying. They've played 2 games without their best player.
Yeah. Basically the first game because he got kicked out before
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Saquon Barkley is the best player on their team, or certainly was last year. You could make an argument Jalen Carter is the best player on their team.
I agree with that.
As soon as you saw him on the sideline last week, you start to get a little feeling about the Giants. What are all the different things smart money is thinking about the Eagles?
Minnesota, from a one-game perspective, you see the spread sitting at 2.5. There's a matchup problem for Philadelphia's offense here, specifically as it relates to Jalen Hurts. And back to the point on the ceiling for Philadelphia, championship teams are quiet. It's something they all have in common. They're quiet. You don't have consistent press conferences asking about drama. Oklahoma City was quiet last year. Costco's one of the best businesses in the world. Costco's quiet. You don't hear about scandal.
Costco.
Every single week, Philadelphia has an issue. You love how that got
I like
in there,
that free
right?
samples.
And then
That's
we
great.
pivot right
back to
back.
that.
We pivot right back. But you want to bet Minnesota here because how much faith can you have in the offense going on the road in that environment, putting up points? Jalen Hurts struggles against the blitz, 24th in QBR. Well, guess what? Minnesota brings the blitz. Minnesota plays a high rate of zone coverage. Where does Jalen Hurts struggle? Zone coverage. Hurts is successful in man when he can chuck it up down the sideline and let his receivers go make a play. When that doesn't exist, the offense collapses in itself.
I would just add, J.J. McCarthy did not practice the first 2 weeks.
Right.
Questionable, obviously, but I would say let's lean towards the next guy. Carson Wentz was injured in that game in London. Now you start wondering, okay, well, the quarterback position could be a major variable in this one. That's the only reason I would
Quarterback
say.
has never mattered in the NFL, Peter.
I got a question. Have you ever been to Costco?
No, I've not. No,
Okay,
I
okay.
have.
I just want to know.
It's an amazing place.
I'm sure it is. I've heard great things about it. People talk about it all the time.
Great.
If you told me, Greeny, meet me at Costco, and didn't tell me where it was, I would just be driving around for the rest of my life trying to figure it out.
Do you know what it is?
I have a vague idea what it is. Yeah, they sell a lot of different things, right? Like you could buy at Costco, you could buy
It's a big box store.
everything. Fortenbaugh, let's play a game of who you got. Looking at some of the big games on the NFL schedule this weekend. Bucks, Lions, Detroit's a 5.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Lions, we're laying the points here. Tampa Bay has been good. They're not as good as the record indicates. 5-1 with a plus 14-point differential. Look around the NFL. You can find a team like Seattle who's 4-2 with a point differential close to 49, just like the Lions right there. That's a better indicator for how well a team is playing at this point in the season. Tampa Bay's got running back injuries. Tampa Bay's got wide receiver injuries. And then there's this. Goff and Dan Campbell together when coming off a loss, 20-8 against the spread in their career.
All right, so Joe says take the Lions, give the points. Tampa's just so banged up, Harry, as we take a look at what everybody expects in this game. Is the injuries, is that the biggest factor in this to you?
Yeah, this is the first week that it's actually going to show up and result in a loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really like this Lions football team, especially after week 1, how they galvanized together and stayed with one another. They didn't, stray away or go from what they believed in. Dan Campbell, I believe in that culture.
How's Dad feeling, Bart Sr. there in Detroit? How's he feeling?
He's feeling better. He's back to brown liquor. Okay. So I think he's feeling good. Branch is going to be out, but this Lions team is going to be hungry. And as long as they don't leave it in the hands of Baker at the end of the fourth quarter, I think the Lions.
I actually think the Branch thing actually helps them in a way. It galvanizes them again. After that week 1 loss, everyone got off it. Now Branch does this. Everyone thinks they're this dirty team. No, they had 3 calls that went against them that they felt were suspect, and they lose Branch on a thing that they believe, okay, we lost him. Enough already. Can we stop punishing Brian Branch in the media, which has been the case all week?
And I go Bucks because, once again, when everyone goes one way, you have to go the other. I'm now going back to Joe Fortenbaugh. Commanders and Cowboys, huge matchup in the NFC East. The Commanders a 1.5-point road favorite. Who you got?
We like the Cowboys, but be careful. The injury report's going to tell a lot as we work our way through the remainder of the week and into the weekend. CeeDee Lamb should be back for the Dallas offense. More on that in a bit. But this is about the spot for Washington. Short week off a Monday night game, traveling to a divisional opponent. You got an average to below average defense. And again, you have injuries at the wide receiver position. Enter CeeDee Lamb, who's expected to return for a Dallas offense that has been extraordinary this year. Defense has been the problem, but when you factor in the spread and the situation for Washington, Dallas is the play.
You get CeeDee Lamb back, that offense could be so good. Yeah. The defense is so bad. Could it be like last year's? That's the comparison people are making, like Burrow's Bengals last year, where the defense was just so bad it kept them out.
I believe, listen, that was some of the worst linebacker play I've ever seen last week. But I think that they have the formula to try to outscore people, and even a blind squirrel finds a nut. So I think this defense may be opportunistic, may get a couple of turnovers, and that's the difference.
You like Washington?
Yeah, I'm going with the Commanders. Number one, when you look at the Cowboys defense, they couldn't stop a nosebleed if their life was dependent on it. They are not good versus the run. The Commanders, they can actually run the football when they hold on to it. Give me the Commanders. I think this is a bigger game for Washington, more so than it is for Dallas.
Interesting, because Dan Quinn and Joe Witt, the defensive masterminds for the Commanders, both worked in Dallas, so they know that offense inside out, and yet I still go Cowboys. Not only CeeDee Lamb comes back, I think Turpin comes back, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, they get their guys back. Shootout, I'm going with the Cowboys.
Okay, next game, Joe Fortenbaugh. We've got Falcons and 49ers. San Francisco, a 2.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Thank you for asking me about this game with Harry Douglas on the show. We have the Niners. This is your classic Falcons trip, fall, break your nose on the pavement game after a huge performance Monday night. Everybody loves Atlanta now, right? Now you got to go outdoors, across the country, on the short week to take on the Niners, who were banged up, which is why we're getting this inside the key number of 3. But the last time we saw Atlanta go outdoors, which was the only time this season, Harry Douglas, what was the result of that game? My memory, it's escaping me here at the moment.
Well, I forgot too, Joe, because I don't want to talk about it, you natural-born hater.
30-0. 30-0 in Carolina, of all places. Niners are the pick here, Greeny.
I would like to strike my answer from the record, too, because somebody has to humble Harry. So I'm going to go back and go with the 49ers. Those solid figures it out.
Don't change the graphic now. Don't knock me down while I'm ahead. You are, look, Harry, for those of you who don't know, played all those years in Atlanta, lives in Atlanta, raised in Atlanta. You love Atlanta, and you think they are for real.
So the biggest question that I had coming into the season was their defense. Right now, they're first in total defense, first in pass defense. Those young guys, that youthfulness amongst their defensive unit has really sparked this unit.
You'll like this, Greeny. Do you know who the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons is?
Yeah, you were just there.
Jeff Ulbrich. And do you know who the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers is? Robert Saleh. Two of the best defenses in the league. Sorry, Jets fans.
That's right. It's the battle of the former Jet coaches.